Some. But this is how he justifies it.
I understand that, but she needs.
If we was loving our women and taking care of our women, do you think she would be like that?
Says the man with 2 baby mamas. Says the man with 2 baby mamas.
The following program is rated TV MAL. It contains strong language and is intended only for mature audiences.
It's not practical. So let's get to the last clip. This is the longest clip. It's about 17 minutes, but it's the most interesting. And it's the one where the debate got kind of heated. I definitely disagree with most of the things that Umar is going to say in this clip. So let's get to it.
Well, speaking of that, I've seen a video of yours where you said that feminism has conditioned black women to view black men as the enemy.
It has. Feminism was financed by the CIA. Gloria, what was her name? Gloria Steinem, I think she was.
Right, yeah.
Mother of modern feminism, because traditional feminism goes back to the 1800s, right? With Susan B. Anthony and those white supremacists. But
real quick, also, ladies and gentlemen, if anybody wants to join the conversation, the link to join is pinned at the top of the chat. So hit that motherfucking link if you'd like to join the conversation, and we'll let you on in.
But Gloria Steinem was a CIA agent. They financed her. Her first feminist magazine they paid for. The CIA brought feminism into the white household to get the woman out the house, and into the black household to turn the black woman against the black man. To scapegoat us for problems caused for her by white supremacy.
So, obviously, a big thing, obviously, we spoke about the gender wars, earlier. Obviously, there's a lot of conversation nowadays about, the value of what a woman brings and the value of what a man brings in a relationship. And now there's a lot more rhetoric from our women that we hear is, I'm strong, independent, I don't need no man, right? So,
that's pain speaking, though.
Right.
Because most black women know they will never get a man.
As usual, Dr. Umar Johnson starts cooking, and then he drops the pot. He's cooking right now, but he's gonna drop the pot. Watch.
A black woman can have sex whenever she wants,
right? Because
she's beautiful. She can have a bed mate, but to have a soul mate, she may never get. I have 2 daughters, 11 and 20, right? My oldest will be 21 this week. Statistically, right? There's a strong chance my daughter could be one of those. I hope she's not. She could be one of those who never get a husband, because only 1 out of 4 gets a husband. You see that? So when a black woman says, I don't need a man, that is a reaction to the reality that I may not get a man.
So why not preach? Because I understood, you're obviously against interracial relations when it comes to black men with with white women.
With all women. You should only be with the black woman.
And you will say, well, if you can't find a good woman in America, there's
somewhere else.
In
Absolutely.
Africa. So why not teach that same rhetoric to our women? Like, if you feel
I tell sisters all the time, go to Africa. So I know sisters who marry. I just spoke with her sister. She invited me to the wedding. She just married a brother from the continent.
Stop the cap.
So, but instead of saying they will never get married,
I'll take sisters to Africa who married brothers they met in Africa.
Right.
So yeah, I think there's plenty.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
I think there's obviously plenty of black men and black women.
So and what I also tell black women, if you're going to go get you an African man from the continent,
right,
you're going to have to understand that the way in which you talk to black men in America will not be tolerated over there.
Why the fuck is it tolerated?
Here's where it starts to get interesting. Here's where he drops the pot.
I tolerated here. That's what we're trying to tell him.
Well, over here, I want to say this to us, though. Because we try to act like the way sisters treat us doesn't have a history that we are not at least partly responsible for. Let's be honest. The black woman has had to hold down the black house by herself although imperfectly, she's had to do it by herself since the mass incarceration of black males began in the 1970s.
So here's with the cap. Here's the cap. What actually happened is that black women took the check over the family. Not all black women, because I didn't come up in a black household like that. Everybody's fucking married in my family, for the most part. Grandmas, great grandmas, everybody. But you see, when the 70s, 80s, 90s hit, you see a large majority of black women with this ideology. And I love playing this clip, but this is why black women are in the position they're in.
Raise your hand if you're married. None of you are married. Raise your hand if you would like to be married to your baby's father. One. The rest of you who don't plan to get married, why don't you plan to get married? I'd like to know that.
You already have your child to think about, and then a whole family to care for. You know, it's a lot of responsibility, and then you don't want the commitments.
I wouldn't want no man holding me down because I think I can make it as a single parent.
But don't you think you might need help in raising that baby from a man?
Not really. I didn't have a father. My father wasn't in the home, so you know it really, male figures are not substantially important in the family.
So there we have it. That was the mentality of the women around that time. They either wanted to be Sex in the City type, cosmopolitan readers, or they took the government check. And these days it's even worse. Because not only are they taking the government check, they trying to take your motherfucking check. So when Umar Johnson says shit like they were forced to have to raise the kids by themselves, no. These women today are not forced to do anything. It's their body, their choice, and they're choosing to let niggas who haven't committed to them go up in them raw. They're choosing it. They're choosing it now more than they ever had, ever. I'm telling you, 2 margaritas and you might end up a goddamn baby daddy. That's how easy it is. So it can't be 2 things at once. It can't be your body, your choice when you want to smoke the kid, but then not your body, your choice when it comes to you. You know, when it comes to your responsibility behind your fertility. I just met you. I don't want no baby with you. I haven't committed to you. We don't live together. We're not going steady. I was drunk one night. You let me crack you raw. I made a mistake. I was a dummy, but at the same time, I wasn't looking to be a father. And you dropped the ball. Now, I'm a stand-up dude, so if I make a mistake, I'm going to handle my mistake and I'm going to raise, the kid, whatever. But I'm just saying, these women are wondering why they're in these positions. Well, your body, your choice. You're choosing raw dick without commitment.
You understand me? Mm-hmm. Most of our children are raised by a single mother right now. Mm-hmm. And it has been that way for about 50 years. So when a sister says, I don't need a man, because she couldn't find one strong enough to hold her down. Or when you meet a woman and you say, sister, I'm strong enough to be your man. You ain't got to work or you ain't got to pay the bills or whatever. Pull back. I got you. And she can't do it because all the other men before you.
This nigga's crazy. So Dr. Umar Johnson has 2 kids by 2 different women. mean, literally, he's describing himself. He literally has 2 kids by 2 different women, and he went through a whole bunch of child support shit over these kids. And this is the same man telling you that you're wrong for not being with a black woman, with a black woman, and you should only be with a black woman. He hasn't wifed up a black woman yet. And I know what you're gonna say. Oh, he got married to 2 women. That was an act. That wasn't real. That was like for social media or something. Dr. Umar Johnson has not made an honest woman out of any woman out here. Remember, he was dealing with the stripper a while back, which I ain't got no problem with. That's his personal business. But now to sit up here and act all high and mighty and try to talk down on black men like, nigga, you ain't get trapped. It's some bullshit. Like, you out of your mind, dude. I don't understand how you niggas, how is this is your leader. This is your leader. And I ain't better than people. Back in 2014, 2015, I was fucking with Umar Johnson.
Who disappointed her. So what I'm saying is, black men, we got to be patient with our women because we created that personality. We created that.
No, nigga, you created that personality with your 2 baby mamas.
Then we want to act like we didn't play a role.
We have to be held accountable for their poor selection.
No, you have to be held accountable. No, you have to be held accountable because they have a poor selection. See, what you're saying, you're selecting a poor mate. And what I'm saying is they don't have much to select one, so of course you're going to end up with a poor mate. And why is she going to end up with a poor mate? Because we as black men are not raising black boys to be the men that our women need.
False. 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 Number one, anybody who's ever grown up in a black neighborhood and went to black schools, you know good and well the women made poor choices in men, or a lot of them made poor choices in men ever since middle school. Ever since middle school. And even throughout their 20s, they make poor choices in men. And when they hit their 30s, then they want to fucking guilt the good men into wanting to take on the responsibility of their life. That's what they do. And also, even when these women have good baby, like, I'm in public service. I'm a public servant, fire department, whatever. I got plenty of co-workers. Plenty of guys I know that work on the police department. Plenty of guys I know that work for Metro who are good dads. But because these women know that these guys have decent jobs and decent careers, these women target them, get pregnant, take these niggas for child support, and try to make a strain between them and their kid. How many men do you know right now getting slaughtered in the family courts that can't go see their children? See, this is the shit he don't talk about. Go, if you get time, go to family court one day. Go to DC family court one day and just sit in court and listen to the fucking nonsense that you have going on there. And see what everyday average good men are going through. Just trying to see their goddamn kids. Let's continue.
We are not. They out there killing themselves right now. What we doing about it? Unemployed black males, what we doing about it? Pants sagging, weed smoking, what we doing about it? Black men are not raising black boys to be the men our community needs. That is 100% our fault.
Black men raise the black boys that they're allowed to raise. But if you have a baby with a woman who is controlling and wants your money and tries to dictate when you can and cannot see your child, it is what it is. Or you have a lot of these women who already come up generations deep in welfare culture, who sleep around with guys in the neighborhood who also come up in this culture. So it's all just shit breeding shit. And that's why you have all this violence going on, because you have generation after generation after generation of so-called families who started out by the first generation of welfare queens who took the check over the family. That's why we are where we are right now.
What I'm saying is she got a right to be angry with us. She got a right to be angry with us. We have not been on our job as black men. If the men are the providers, what have we been providing for our community? I'm not speaking you individually.
Yes.
Because you may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. But guess what? What are we doing for the community? What are we doing for the children who don't have a father?
Let me tell y'all something right now. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not Umar Johnson. I don't need your money. Black men, listen to me right now. The best thing you can do for the community is take care of your own children. And let the rest of that shit be what it is. Because there is no way you can fix it at this point. You ever play tic-tac-toe? And you play tic-tac-toe and they got you in a corner, they got you here, they got you there. It's no way you can move. Any way you try to move, you're going to lose the game. Let it be, bro. Take care of yours and let it be. This shit has to burn because it's not worth salvaging at this point. It's too fucked up. It's too toxic. And it's not worth it. We're better off letting it burn down and just build something else. We're too far gone, unfortunately. We're too far gone.
You don't think the black woman got a right to be angry when she's been raising 2/3 of the kids by herself for 50 years? And the minute she raised her voice, we say she's not humble enough? She had to become masculine to survive the rape, the molestation, the domestic abuse. Are you telling me you can't see how we created that?
He's yelling and trying to trigger people emotionally to make a point. When if you actually listen to what he's saying, most of those things that he's yelling about are low in the community. Most black women don't molest their wives. Most black men don't beat their wives. Most black men are not just being horrible to their wives. But these are the three things he brings up in order to justify the fucked up attitude that some of our women have towards the men. Not all, some. But this is how he justifies it.
I understand that, but she needs
If we was loving our women and taking care of our women, do you think she would be like that?
Says the man with 2 baby mamas. Says the man with 2 baby mamas.
That personality has a history.
If she's picking Pookie and Ray Ray instead of
you're making her a scapegoat.
No, she's picking a scapegoat.
No.
There's good quality men that they ignore.
Why she even got it? Why?
And see, the brother right there has a point. There's plenty of good quality men that get ignored. But watch Umar Johnson drop the pot again.
Why is there even a Pookie in the selection?
You gotta ask her that.
No. I'm gonna tell you why there's a Pookie in the selection.
Why?
Because black men have abandoned black boys and have allowed social media.
Real quick. DQ, the link is at the top of the chat. If you would like to click the link and call in, you are most certainly allowed to come on and speak and give your point. I'm with the shits. Let's get it.
White media, athletes, and rappers to raise them. That's why she with Pookie. If we never allow Pookie to develop, she would not have a Pookie.
So once again, he already stated the problem at the beginning of this conversation. The CIA, Gloria Steinem, feminists, infiltrating the community, getting the black women to be on that feminist shit, right? First, he's stating that's the problem. That's what he does first. First, he blames the white people. Okay, did that. Now, in order to secure his monetary base, because black women are the only ones donating to this nigga at this point, because they're the only ones falling for this dumb shit that you're gonna save their kids. He has to save his base. He has to keep fucking what's the word I'm looking for? Catering to his base to keep his cash apps flowing. But he already stated earlier in the conversation that it was the CIA that came in and infiltrated the community with the feminist shit. Now, he's turning that all around and blaming black men again. Well, I'm not going to say we're not to blame at all, because there are some fucked up dudes out here. There are some fucked up dads, so for sure, there's some responsibility that should be on black men. But as a whole, nah. Black men do not share the brunt of this bullshit. It is not by far. Because most of the fucked up black men that are out here in the world today, who raised them? Who raised them?
If we're going to be men, the first thing we got to do is take responsibility for why our women feel the way they feel.
I can hear that.
I'm not saying that they're right to disrespect, because even if a woman disrespects me, right? That still don't give me a right to disrespect her, because she's still the queen of the community.
Shit. If somebody disrespects you, you have the right to disrespect them back. And I wish you niggas would stop using the words king and queen. There are no kings and queens around here. Okay? There are no kings and queens. We have to stop this crazy idea that we have that we're just automatically kings and queens because we possibly came from Africa. Everybody's not a king or a queen. As a matter of fact, most people are not kings and queens. Kings and queens are 2 out of every population. And we're not in a position to even use language like that if we stop and examine our socioeconomic status. We have to just, as black people, man, we got to get real, man. I think that's the first thing we have to do. We have to get real. We have to look at the statistics, and we have to start identifying where the problems are in real time and how we solve that, instead of these grandiose ideas and this fucking blame game that we have for everybody except ourselves. We really got to do that. I know it feels good to blame other people and to claim to be a victim, which to a degree we are. But at the same time, by being a victim, you're going to stay, by claiming to be a victim all the time, you're going to stay a victim. It comes to the point where it's got to come to the point where you have to go from being the victim to plotting on a comeback, plotting your revenge, doing something to put yourself in a position where you're not the victim again. Because clearly, the people who made you a victim don't have any intent on getting you out of that status. So what does that mean? That means you have to do it. That means you have to think your way out of this. Now, what's the best way to do it? Is the best way to do it by saying all white people are racist, even though we need them and their money to get certain things done? No, because you'll piss them all off. Then you'll have absolutely nothing. There are certain things that happen in this country for black people that would have never happened if there weren't decent white people helping out. Granted, they could have been doing it for their own opportunistic reasons, but that's the way the world works. It's chess, not checkers.
Even if she not acting like it, I'm going to give it that respect. But when I hear brothers talk like this discourse we having now, we act like we don't understand.
No,
there's reasons for that shit.
I do understand. Women are so valuable. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think women ground men and help them, propel to the next level. I think men get further in life with a woman, right? But if I'm a hardworking man, but I'm only looked at as resources,
okay,
and then she's ready to jump on Tom, Dick, and Harry because he got flash, he's shining a little bit more, his access to money is quicker than mine. It's kind of hard to have that.
Well, no, one, I agree with you, but that's not all sisters.
No, it's not. It's
and
not.
if you're constantly running into that type of
bam, now you see where he says that's not all sisters, right? But when he's speaking about black men, it's a blanket statement. It's all of us. They get the benefit of the doubt. We don't. Why? Because they fatten his pockets, and men are smart enough to look at this motherfucker and say, "Okay, he's hustling."
Woman, then the problem is you, because you're attracting a certain low vibrational energy. Why
not have that same energy for women?
Great question. Why not that same energy for women?
You just again, you held
because
the man
we having a
responsible.
conversation as men.
Yeah,
I got.
Ooh, he just eased out of that real greasy. You gotta clap it up for Umar right there. That was slick. That was real slick. That was real slick, Umar. I'll give you that. Because we having a conversation as men. Umar's quick on his feet. I'll give him that.
I got plenty of interviews with all women where I check them too.
All right.
But as a
Stop the cap.
man, you should not be concerned about what I say to them. No. As men, we should be concerned of what we're going to do to produce a better generation of black males for tomorrow. That's the only, that is where we should be focused on.
Women bring the choice of life, right? We understand that, right? I can't have a child unless a woman agrees.
And she can't carry one if you didn't put it in her.
I agree with that 100% too, right? But whether or not, if you want that child or not, she can still make that decision. It's only up to her.
If you don't put a seed in her, nothing else happens. And no woman can make you put a seed in her. So the original act was the responsibility of a man.
True.
Stop. Please stop.
Blood clot.
Listen, man. Here's the difference, and here's what Umar Johnson is not saying. As men, yes, we make stupid decisions, and sometimes we go on women raw when we shouldn't. But most of the time when we do that, the woman says, oh no, it's okay, I'm on birth control, this or that. Here's why the responsibility is on the woman. If you're gonna let a man sleep with you without a condom, and you guys aren't in a committed relationship, you should have the wherewithal, as the person of whose body and whose choice it is, you should have the wherewithal to know when the last time you ovulated. When is your period coming? Did you take your birth control? Things like that. Because it's your body, so you should know it. There's apps, and there's also 33 different types of contraceptives besides condoms and abortions that you can use to not get pregnant. So you would think the person whose choice it is and whose body it is to relegate a pregnancy would take those steps before they irresponsibly let someone in there without a condom. Once again, yes, the man is dumb for going in without a condom, but ultimately he's doing this with trust in the woman that he's sleeping with. He's doing this with a level of trust for her. So if she goes against that trust or doesn't doesn't handle the situation in a way that won't get her pregnant, for lack of better words, then that's on her. Because if she does get pregnant, you don't have a choice in the matter. She'll either kill it or she won't kill it. But guess what? You don't have a choice of whether you pay child support or not. You don't have a choice. I mean, think about this, man. Look at the whole Zion Williamson situation we talked about earlier. There are women out here literally in a competition to try to get pregnant by this nigga so they can take him for child support. The woman who's got pregnant right now, I guarantee you, 6 months after she has that baby, she's gonna leave and she's gonna have him in court trying to take 30% of his income. I guarantee you. It's so bad out here. Drake had to put hot sauce in a condom. Drake used a condom, and the bitch then tried to take the condom out the trash can and impregnate herself with that condom. That's how bad it is. That's how worthless some of these chicks are out here. That they're willing to impregnate themselves by someone who doesn't want a child with them just to take their money. The hell with the kid, I want the money. This is what men have to deal with. So to hear Umar Johnson sit up here and act like it's just, whatever, man. Let's keep going.
I mean, all right. So, did black men willingly leave the household, or was it the system that was?
It was systemic.
All right. So, how, if we giving them grace for them having to do it without us, but it wasn't our fault, how are we not getting that same grace and that same respect?
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Because black men, as the leaders of the community, now
we can't be leaders.
Here's the question we gotta make. Here's the question. Because the argument y'all make feeds into the feminist agenda.
Okay.
It's an argument that's...
Now watch how he flips the whole script. He's about to flip it and try to flip it back on them with a totally different argument, but make it seem like he's talking about the same thing.
Says, I don't want the responsibility.
I'm a leader.
I don't want to fix shit. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to fall back and let her run everything. That's what the feminists tell. They say, look at them, making excuses for why they can't be better men, making excuses for why they can't make better men. You understand? Your argument feeds the feminist narrative.
He didn't answer the question. Let's go back. Let's go back a little bit. He didn't answer the question. He never does, though.
Tell you why. Because black men, as the leaders of the community, now
we can't be leaders.
Here's the question we gotta make. Here's the question. Because the argument y'all make feeds into the feminist agenda. Okay. It's an argument that says, I don't want the responsibility.
I'm a leader.
I don't want to fix shit. Right? I'm going to fall back and let her run everything. That's what the feminists tell. They say, look at them, making excuses for why they can't be better men, making excuses for why they can't make better men. You understand? Your argument feeds the feminist narrative. That's
not what we're making excuses for.
I'm saying I am the better man, but I shouldn't be held responsible because you wanted to choose a Pookie and a Ray Ray. That's not me. I worked too hard in my life. I'm going to go back to
what I said. Pookie and Ray Ray shouldn't exist. And the only reason why Pookie and Ray Ray exist because we're not in the community making those boys the men they need to be.
Not true. Not true. In every community, no matter what the race is, there are desirable people and there are less desirable people. What he's saying is the women are choosing the less desirable people. That's all he's saying. But Umar Johnson is saying, no, it's our fault for having less desirable people. Well, I mean, that's just life. That's nature. There's going to be top of the food chain and there's going to be bottom of the food chain. No matter what culture you're in.
Do you see that? And she don't get a Pookie if you didn't allow a Pookie.
But she got an Eli. She ain't come to Eli. She went to Pookie. And that's what we're trying to say.
She wouldn't have had a Pookie if we didn't allow one.
Hard in my life.
She wouldn't have had a Pookie if we didn't allow one.
But Dr. Umar,
men supposed to make the raise the boys.
Right. We as men is holding other men accountable for the same thing that you talking about right now.
What are we doing for the young brothers in the street? So
what you mean, mentoring them? Now I mean he's a great father.
I ain't talking about that's individual. That's good, but that's individualism. What are we doing collectively as men to change the trajectory for black boys in the streets right now?
First of all, that's a loaded question because nobody's doing it. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not doing shit. I'm not fucking with them little niggas. They crazy. They can come fuck with me. I'll give you a job. If you know how to act, you clean cut, you got your shit together, I'll give you a job, but I ain't fucking with these little niggas in the street. Hell, I ain't got nothing for them. Like I told y'all, we too far gone. Let it burn. Let it burn.
Nothing.
We're being
but
a voice.
talking shit.
Yeah, I mean, you can take
It's
it as
not
that.
going to get better unless we put hands on deck. The reason the athletes and the rappers are the role models is the professional black man moved out the hood. Where the dentist at? He ain't in the black community no more. Where the lawyer at? Where the business owner at?
Let me stop him right there. So, I can only speak for Washington, D.C. because that's where I live. I know me personally, I don't want to live anywhere near these niggas. If you watch the news in Washington, D.C., they are killing, robbing, and assaulting people like it's nothing. And then the courts aren't even prosecuting these people to the fullest extent. They are killing people like it's nothing. These little niggas are shooting into crowds of people on Sunday as church is getting out. Like it's nothing. Why the fuck would I want to live in the middle of that shit if I managed to make something of myself? I'm taking my family and I'm getting the hell away from you niggas. Because I didn't work this hard for my son to get accepted to Harvard and to get shot in the fucking head on the way back from the corner store. I didn't work this hard for that. And anything can happen to anyone anywhere. I understand that. But I'm about probability over possibility. I try to put myself and my family in the best probable scenario. I don't do possible. I do probable. So the probability of some fuck shit happening to me living in the hood is higher than it is for me not living in the hood. The probability of me getting into it with a nigga with nothing to lose is higher in the hood than it is out of the hood. So guess where I'm gonna go? Out the hood. Simple as that. I done seen too many community leaders give their heart and soul to the community, die broke, and nothing's changed. It only gets worse. And why does it get worse? Because we continuously promote broken families. We keep saying that it's okay to do this. We need to go back to the days where having an out of wedlock child was frowned upon, where people shamed you. Back in the day, man, if a woman had an out of wedlock child, she'll give that child to the mother and move down south somewhere, start a new life, just to get rid of the shame. Now that's a little extreme, but what I'm saying is that kept families intact. That kept people on their P's and Q's.
Where your city council person at? We abandon black boys and then we blame black men for poor choices in mates that they should not even have to make if we did a better job raising our boys the right way. At the end of the day, if I'm gonna call myself a man, the ultimate responsibility for reconstruction of the black community rests with me. Yes, they have a role.
Once again, this is coming from a man who does not live in the home of either of his children. He did not make an honest woman of either of his baby mamas. I wish I was on this podcast because I would have asked him that. So why didn't you marry neither one of your baby mamas? Oh my God. I would love to see the way he tap dances his way out of that one. I would love, because then he would have to admit, well, they fucking around with me with the child support, blah, blah, blah. He would have to admit it's some fuck shit going on. It's crazy to me. Like, niggas like it's shit crazy to me. Shit crazy to me. Let's go.
Yes, they have responsibility, but as a man, as a leader, to say I can't fix this shit unless she changes, that's not the definition of a man.
I don't see. I think we're on two different accords. Like, I don't think we're saying that. What I'm saying is I'm capable of being that leader, that provider. I've worked hard in my life. You get what I'm saying? I should not have to do.
You still go back to individualism.
But I only feel like we tell black men that we have to now deal with masculine women with children.
Why is she masculine? Because she's had to raise the kids alone. Not one woman, brother. A whole community.
So you mean to tell me the only woman I could look forward in my life is a masculine woman that has kids by other men?
No.
Great question. Great question. Watch the Umar shuffle.
But I have to look forward to
but I'm telling you, mistakes made by black men systemically gave rise to the conditions that allowed her to be masculine and made her end up with a man that you consider to be less than what he should be. And I'm telling you, black men are responsible for her being masculine because we have not helped her raise them children.
I am
and
not.
when I say help them raise them children, I don't mean you as the stepdad.
No,
I mean you as an active member in the community where we go to every single parent black mother and say, how many sons you got? 2? How many sons you got? 2? Well, guess what? That's your son's big brother. That's your son's big brother. He taking him to school. He doing the homework. He gonna spend a couple hours with him every Saturday. He got his...
This nigga crazy, bro. This nigga's crazy. This nigga's absolutely crazy. That's his solution. None of his solutions are practical. None of his solutions are real world practical. They aren't. For the life of me, I don't know how people are still listening to this nigga, man.
His own kids too, but he gonna make time for you. She got masculine because she had to become masculine in order to deal with the rape, the abuse, the domestic violence, the disappointments that men had in her life, and also raising those kids and have to take care of herself all at the same time. The black woman has been the be all in all in our community for half of a century, and now we want to turn around and say because she didn't do it perfectly enough or remain feminine enough when she had to absorb our responsibilities plus her own, that's insensitive and disingenuous.
I don't.
Yeah.
That is the voice of a man who is a paid grifter. Get your money, Dr. Umar.
I can't.
I mean, I guess I do understand what you're saying.
I'm not
And
taking
you
nothing
have
back from
yet
that.
to tell me something that we've done systemically to combat that.
Because
Because you keep saying me and her. I don't care about me and her.
But there's plenty
Women and men. Women and men as a group in the community. You understand?
Right.
We gave birth to that. You see? So you say she had a couple kids already because she met men. She probably thought they was good. Some of them, they left her.
She knew they wasn't good.
You don't know that.
She probably met men that was good. Some of them, they left her. And again, I say, the same way you left both of your baby's mothers. The same way you left both your baby's mothers. That's the $1 million question. Why you not with baby mama number 1 or baby mama number 2? Why are neither of those women married or have been married to you? Why is that?
You knew they wasn't good.
You're making assumptions about her. Would you make the same assumption if she was a white woman?
Yes, I would.
So you say.
No.
Now the curveball. Would you make the same assumption if she was a white woman? What the fuck does that have to do with the conversation? We're talking about black families. Like, I'm telling you, man. These niggas, I'm telling you.
You see? So you say she had a couple kids already because she met men. She probably thought they was good. Some of them, they left her.
She knew they wasn't good.
You don't know that, brother.
She knew they wasn't good.
You're making assumptions about her. Would you make the same assumption if she was a white woman?
Yes, I would.
So you say.
No,
come on, man. Come on.
Hold women accountable.
So you say.
Listen, like I said, I feel like as a black
We
man,
don't hold them all accountable because black men date outside their race more than every other man put together.
I said we.
Y'all 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, he's firing off stats that aren't true. Black men date out their race more than every other man put together. Not true. White men date outside of their race way more than black men. I think.
yeah,
I can't disprove that because I don't know you personally.
Even that,
But
if we look at the numbers, black men marry black women at an 87% rate, where black women marry outside of their race, or they marry outside at a 92%.
black women do not. No, you're wrong.
That's percentages of
You're wrong.
That's not that much.
Black
See, Dr. Umar don't even listen.
women do not marry out the race more than black men.
That's not what he said.
I'm not
wrong.
saying that, but the percentages
Black
ain't that
women,
far off. That's
black
what I'm saying.
women have one of the highest, fastest growing interracial marriage rates. But her interracial marriage rate
pales in comparison to what black men have been doing.
No, it doesn't. We marry interracially at 87%. They do it at 92%. That doesn't pale in comparison at all. It's a few percentage points. Overall, it's still high on both ends. But I don't give a fuck about interracial marriage. If you want to date outside your race, go ahead. Shit, why not?
Interracially for 4 or 5 decades. You understand? She don't even come close to what we're doing interracially.
Black fathers are in the home more than any other group or race.
Now, I got to disagree with him. In what home? They're in their own home when they get their kids every other weekend, dealing with this baby mama culture. But at the same time, 60 to 70% of black homes are headed by single mothers.
Okay.
So what that has no value?
It does have value, but we're going to put that up against the other statistic. 2/3 of our kids are being raised by the women. 2/3 of our kids are being raised by the women. And like I said, when I say being raised, I'm not saying it needs to be a father. I would like a father in that house.
Yeah.
But I know it's not enough of us to go around.
Yeah.
We are not.
2/3 of the kids are being raised by the women, but the women are out here having 2/3 of the kids with a nigga that's not committed to them. Like if you're gonna have my baby off a drunken night we had by mistake, or because you poked holes in my condom, or because you took the condom out the trash and impregnated yourself, you're gonna be living with the kids. That's the choice you made because you wanted them. Yeah, I'll be paying them, but look.
Not even being accountable to the boys in the hood. And we're complaining about the women.
I argue with women
who are making babies with the irresponsible men that we didn't raise correctly. That's bullshit.
All right.
That's wimp ass weak man shit. Take responsibility for our shit. Stop scapegoating them.
Yeah, I could agree to that.
All I'm saying is look at all we could be doing better, man. Half the black boys in the 4th grade can't read. What black men doing about that systemically?
Not enough.
Plan B.
I'm doing about it. I'm building a school for it. 2 of them. Mm-hmm. But systemically, as black men, what are we doing about that? Nothing. Black boys are the most unemployed teenager in America. What black men doing about that?
Not as much.
Pookie and Ray Ray, you kept talking about? Mm-hmm. We let them raise right before our eyes, and then we want to criticize us for ending up with one when we should have made sure there were none.
Listen, we all got choices. Just like if I choose to live a lifestyle,
that could individualism. I can't. But that's part of choices. No, it's not. Yeah. We have to deal with this systemically. He brought up a question earlier, and he said, "Did we make these problems on our own, or was there some systemics involved?" It was systemics.
Okay.
In 1970, they shut down the factories. They took out the industrial building jobs. 1980, dropped off the crack and the AIDS. 1990, the Bill Clinton crime bill. There's systemic factors at play. You totally divorce your analysis from any systemic factors at all. You ain't mentioned one. You can be talking about her and Pookie and Ray Ray with the kids. You ain't say shit about the systemics. That's exactly what white folks want you to do. That's what white folks want you to do.
I'm saying
ignore what I've done to your women and scapegoat her. Because that's what she's doing to you. She's ignoring what the system did to you. And she's going to scapegoat you. And we're both scapegoating each other.
Okay, that's fair.
Your analysis is feeding the gender war. It's not solving it.
Listen,
I don't mind us holding the women accountable. I don't mind us holding the men accountable.
Right?
Yeah. But when we going to hold the system accountable as well?
Now, I have to admit, Umar Johnson he's a good shuffler, and the point he just made there was excellent. I have to give him credit for that. However, my answer is still, at this point, we are too far gone. We took too much of the bait early off in the game. The seeds are already sowed. The trees are already grown. It's over. We lost. Thank the baby boomers. Thank the baby boomers. Because that's why we are where we are. And there's the mistakes they made were so irreversible, there is nothing we can do at this point. All you can do as a responsible, decent black person is raise your family in a place that's conducive for families. You cannot stay in the hood, because the longer you stay in the hood and try to raise your family, it's going to consume your family. You might have 3-4 kids. Two of your kids might do good and go off to get, doctorates. One of them is going to end up on drugs, and the other one's going to end up being a gangbanger. Why? Because you can't fight off all of those forces on everybody in your family. Like, it's too much shit going on in these neighborhoods to keep your family 100% safe. Get your family the fuck up out of there so they can grow up and take advantage of the blessing that it is to be an American citizen at this point. Because I've traveled to a whole lot of countries, and trust and believe, ain't nothing better than being a citizen here. And when you're a citizen and you go to these other countries, it's even better, because it's cheaper to live there and the people treat you like gold just because you're an American. Don't take that shit for granted. Don't ruin your experience trying to save a destitute situation that is not savable at this point. It is not savable. We aren't making the necessary steps to fix that. As we speak, we should be making the necessary steps. We aren't. As we speak, niggas are still voting Democratic. As we speak, it's still 90-something% for black women, 80-something% for black men. Still, after all the bullshit we've seen as Umar says, for the past 100 years, we're still voting Democrat. It's over. No one's really taking the necessary steps. So why the fuck would you risk your beautiful family for that? At this point, it's hard to care, because it's like nobody really gives a fuck. Nobody wants to read. Nobody wants to look into things. Niggas just want to live for the day and be comfortable. Niggas will go work at Chipotle for 14 hours. As long as they can get off work, get 2 blunts and a fucking ice house and a pack of Newports and go to sleep, they can get up and do it all the next day. Trust me, I've been there. I've been there. Let's finish this video out, though.
And if we're going to hold the system accountable, that also means we got to make our own systems too. Black men have not been manly in quite some time when it comes to raising boys.
How would you suggest that black men take on the role of leadership,
especially when there's an attack on black masculinity,
without women willing to listen to us? You get what I'm saying? How do we prove our worth or take back the leadership?
Take care of the boys. You want the women back? Take care of these damn boys. They run in the hood, killing people at will, flunking out of school, following the lead of the gangster rappers. There's a whole bunch of stuff we can do that ain't got nothing to do with the women, boys and men. Do you understand? Deal with the boys and the men. Leave her out of it and go straight to the boys. And you'll get her respect back. Give them jobs, give them education, give them training, give them your time. They not getting none of that from black men. We don't give a shit about black boys. And then we're gonna get mad at her for ending up with one later in life. It's ridiculous.
Like I said,
they ended up with the motherfuckers that they raised.
Product and get mad for.
They ended up with the motherfuckers that they fought hard in family court to keep from you and raise. I don't fall for this Umar Johnson shit, man. I don't fall for it. It sounds good, but as soon as you put some analysis behind some of this shit, it's easily debunked.
Her for ending up consuming the product.
She could consume whatever she wants. I'm just saying, as a black man,
it's not about her consuming whatever she wants, brother, because if we're trying to fix the black community, everybody and everything matters.
It's
And that's
not individual.
understandable.
You're an
But
individualist. You're not thinking as a community. Your whole analysis is based on me and her. Step out of that shit. This is systems at play. You understand?
Right.
Multiple black men screwed up. Multiple black women screwed up. You understand me?
I could say he's correct there.
Look at the systemic nature and say, what system do we need to create as black men to prevent the Pookie and Ray Ray from coming into existence?
And I would answer and say that there's no system that we can create to do that. There's no system because we're not even in the position to create a system. Like, that's what most black people don't get. We're not there. We're just not there.